AITA for refusing to let my husband eat dinner with me and the kids? This might sound silly, but my husband loves food, not gaming, not YouTube. His weakness is food. I don't hold this against him in any way, but he eats a lot. He's fit and regularly attends the gym, and sometimes I find myself cooking bigger portion of food because he'd attempt to eat from our daughter's plates, leaving them still hungry. We always run out of snacks as well, so there are times when I have to cook twice a day. Yesterday at 4 p.m. I was out with the girls to get new haircuts. I already prepared dinner and left it in the fridge till we get back. I told my husband that I'd put his portion aside for when he got back from the gym so he could go ahead and eat if me and the girls were going to be late. I called him at the salon and he said he got home and had his dinner and was doing some work in his office. At 8 p.m. me and the girls returned home and I quickly went into the kitchen to reheat dinner because we were so hungry. I opened the fridge and the food I prepared was gone. I asked him and he said he felt hungry after eating early and ate our dinner. I was angry, kept thinking what we were going to eat. I kept looking for other option, and when I asked about other foods he kept shaking his head saying we already ran out of this and ran out of that. I bluntly said he was selfish to eat the girls' dinner. He said he couldn't help it, he's always hungry. I went to order food from the restaurant for just me and the girl. When our order arrived, I called the girls and sat to eat. Few minutes later he walked out of the office and was upset that we didn't call Hi to join us for dinner. I told him he already had dinner not once but twice and that I did not include him in our order since he's already ate. He lashed out saying that I was doing this deliberately, ordering food from his favorite restaurant, pretty much all restaurants are his favorite, and excluding him from dinner and teaching the girls to treat him as he was unwanted at dinner table. I called him selfish. This dinner was for me and the girls since he already ate our previous dinner that I spent time making. He admitted he was wrong to eat our dinner and said he felt bad afterwards, but said it was totally worth it. There's no doctor, therapist, or pastor that could help him out with this problem. He's just a man who loves food. But I was behaving passive-aggressive towards him and implying that him licking food is a problem, which is incorrect. We argued for minutes, then he went back into the office saying I should feel bad for excluding him from our meal. Needless to say, he hasn't spoken to me ever since and keeps teasing the girls about no longer sharing his snacks with them since they were okay with me excluding him from dinner. AITA here?
He's tough for not getting help. My dad used to be like this. Turns out he was bulimic and would binge and purge. He crossed so many boundaries. Like stealing our food. He was hungry all the time. Would be constantly snacking. And couldn't keep his hands off other people's food. And he didn't understand why we would get upset. And he was good at hiding it. Our grocery bill was around $1,000 a month. Family of 4. Because he was in charge of the shopping. Even after my sister and I moved out, he still spent the same amount on food for just him and my mom. I think your husband needs some kind of help, whether as bulimia or some sort of other medical issue. Edit to add that my dad was fit. He hid his bulimia well for more than several decades. The fact that your husband is never full, doesn't gain weight, and really doesn't want to go to the doctor for his problem leads me to believe that he is hiding something. Maybe he thinks the doctor will know something he is not ready to admit. NTA. Does he have a tapeworm or something? You need to insist that your husband see a doctor. It's not normal for a healthy parent to prioritize themselves like that and not care if their kids are going hungry. It's a huge red flag that he doesn't care that he's literally taking food out of his children's mouths. NTA. But your husband has a serious problem that needs to be looked at. No one is just that hungry that he eats his children's food and still wants more but doesn't care that his kids have no food. He needs help. Has he always been like this?
He ate his own dinner, his wife's dinner and his kids' dinner and then still wanted more. And said that eating his kids' food was worth it? Nope.
He said he couldn't help it. He's already hungry. Geez. This guy sounds like a petulant child. Totally NTA. He's selfish. If he's so hungry all the time, he can prepare or buy his own food, not steal everyone else's. There is so much wrong here. This goes way beyond AITA. Either he needs to have much larger portions of food or get some help because that is not normal. And a doctor or therapist would help, and I seriously hope you do something instead of letting this continue. NTA people who simply love food don't eat food their children and spouse need to eat for a meal. That's either a compulsion, which is a mental health issue, or pure asshole behavior. NTA he ate his kids' food, he literally has no room to argue. NTA, your husband's problem isn't that he likes food. It's that he's a selfish glutton who doesn't respect or really like his family. When I read that he had eaten your dinner as well as his, my blood pressure went up. Him giving you the silent treatment and taunting his own children over snacks is very immature, manipulative, and honestly abusive. Actually, the way he handled this entire thing is a common abuse tactic known as DARVO. Deny, attack, reverse, victim and offender. There's no doctor, therapist, or pastor that could help him out with this problem. He's just a man who loves food. I disagree. This man has a problem that needs sorting out. Either there's something a therapist can sort out, or he's just fundamentally completely selfish to put his desires over the needs of the rest of his family. In which case, do you really want to be with this person? What is this teaching your daughters? That he will happily eat all their food and leave them hungry? Disgraceful behavior. Get him to sort it out, and please stop enabling him. What he's doing is wrong. NTA. Who eats their kids' dinner? If he was still hungry, he could have gone out to eat, or at the very least warned you so you could have made a detour instead of coming home. Nobody needs this much food. Unless you are serving up the world's tiniest portions, I would say he needs serious help. Info. Why haven't you removed your daughters from living with a man who doesn't care if his children have no food? Not only that, but he's a dick to them because they finally get to eat but don't share their food with him, because he already ate theirs. You can choose to live with this asshole if you want. You're an adult, but someone has to protect your children. Edit. I just want to add that if your children go to school and tell a teacher or any other adult anywhere tbh that they're often hungry because daddy eats all their food, you're going to have CPS crawling all over you. NTA. Lots to unpack, but the big issue is that he is okay with eating more than enough to sustain him, while leaving nothing for his kids. Knowingly. It's probably something to look into as to why he eats so much. But from my understanding, that is not the issue. The issue is that he would let his kids go without anything to eat. He has actively eaten meals designated for them and has actively let his children go hungry while actively acknowledging that he has eaten enough. You need to sit down and have a talk. If this behavior is going to continue, then you need to have food that is off limits for him, that is designated for you and your children, in order to ensure that you have food. Make it clear that he is not allowed to touch a certain portion because it is needed to stop your children and yourself from going hungry. Let him know he's able to make himself more food if he needs to. But your responsibility is to your kids first. If you let this continue, YWBTA edit. Attempting to make it less confusing. NTA. If he has eaten his food, and your food, and the kids' food, and is still hungry, he is capable of ordering more food for himself and not expecting you to provide a second meal. In fact, if he eats all his food and all the extra on the table, and is still hungry, he is capable of going and making himself a sandwich rather than starting in on other people's plates. I agree with others that he needs a full physical, as being this hungry is not normal, and may be a symptom of something wrong. especially if he isn't gaining weight. In addition, if he is on any kind of medication, check to see if the medication can increase hunger. Steroids such as prednisone, for example, can leave one very hungry all the time. If he needs medication that causes hunger, you'll want to have a lot of bulky, low-calorie foods to let him snack as needed, such as fresh fruit, low-fat cottage cheese, or even roast a skinless turkey breast for him to make sandwiches on light bread or sandwich thin rolls, with low-calorie condiments such as mustard rather than rich mayo. But no matter the cause, he should be responsible for prepping any food he needs beyond an ordinary meal. My suggestions in the previous paragraph are for things to add to the grocery list, not things that you should be expected to make and serve on demand. NTA. But he needs to get that checked. I knew a guy like that. He had a small tumor pressing down that made him unable to feel full. Can you hide snacks for the girls in their rooms without telling him? I'd let him know that until he gets himself checked out you will continue to cook for the girls, only to ensure they aren't becoming malnourished by his lack of desire to ensure the girls come. First, I would starve first before taking food from my kids. NTA. But what are you doing? Staying with a man that will literally take the food out of your kid's mouth all day every day? He could have a disorder. No. Liking food does not mean you scarf down everything in sight. But the lack of contrition is a red flag. Maybe he has poor impulse control or something and ate the damn dinner because he couldn't help it. But knowing that you and your daughters would go hungry, he could have ordered something for you all. And himself. 'Cause why not? I'm not surprised that you were annoyed. To answer your question, your NTA. Your husband likely needs to see someone for this. It goes beyond just having a big appetite. There's no doctor, therapist, or pastor that could help him out with this problem. He's just a man who loves food. Hey this is absolute horseshit and I don't know if it's a quote he said or something you believe. But it is not the case. He needs help. And he can get it. This is not normal man shit. Because his behavior is unbelievable and your daughters will grow up feeling food insecure. NTA now, but you will be. Or really it will fall into esh. If you don't draw some hard lines about him getting help and fixing his selfish compulsions. NTA. Big red flag that he's taking it out on your daughters when they needed the food that he ate in. Being children are entirely reliant on you two for their meals. Info. Have you gotten him tested for worms or something? One of my friends was constantly eating ridiculous portions of food due to hunger. The doctors told him he had some sort of worm in him and had to have him dewormed.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Haircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.